All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm super excited to be here this morning. It looks to be a glorious day outside and kicking off a great weekend. And what better way to do that than to have this amazing presenter? I'm here today to invite you and welcome you to joining us on our 30th installment of the EO Exchange series, Overwhelmed, Overstretched, and Over It, with my dear friend, Mridhu Parikh. As a reminder, we have time set aside for Q&A, so please put questions in the chat for me to pass on to Mridhu. Mridhu is known as the Stress Squasher. She is a productivity coach, speaker, and author. She helps business owners be productive at work and present at home. She has an Amazon best-selling book, Accomplish It, and is the host of the Productivity on Purpose podcast. Her techniques on mastering tasks and habits have been featured in the Huffington Post, U.S. News and World Report, and Real Simple, as well as her own column in the Tennessean. She's taught thousands simple ways to wake up with a plan, take control of their distractions, and drop overwhelm with ease. Results include tripling time for strategy, doubling revenue, and making space for self-care. She has so many fun facts to choose from. Her high school senior year superlative was class clown. She eats sandwiches in a circle, all the crust first and then the middle last. And then I think there's one more that she's going to share with us at the end. Again, we have time set aside for Q&A, so please go ahead and put your questions in the chat box. And with that said, it is my absolute pleasure and joy to hand it over to my dear friend, Mridhu Parikh.
Thank you, Brooke. Wow, that was an amazing intro. Thank you. Hey, all. Thanks for being here Friday morning. I know it's an investment, so I promise I'm going to make this time totally worth it for you. So grab your pen, paper, whatever you want to take notes on, and stay engaged. And let's all bring like Richard's energy that he's brought here today already this morning. And if you do that, it's going to be an amazing time. So, all right. So I got up this morning and was pumped for this, right? I'm really excited. I've been thinking about it last night and all the things I want to say, but I had this like feeling on me. I'm like, this like one email is like really driving me crazy. So you know what? I'm just going to I got up early. I'm just going to knock it out. Let me just get that email out so I can stay really focused and present for this. So I get to my home office right here. I sit down, I start typing. And in the first paragraph, I realized I've used the word triple twice, like triple growth, triple revenue. I'm like, I need a better word. What should I say? So I hop on the Googles and I type in triple synonym. The searches come up, and that's when it happens. I scroll down, and I see J-Lo's having triplets. I'm like, what? J-Lo's having triplets? Oh my gosh, got to click on this. So I'm looking at her, I'm like, oh my God, how does she do this? The woman's amazing. She looks incredible. She already has twins. Does she ever eat? Oh, I'm tracking my food on my Fitness Pal. So I jump on my phone, get on my Fitness Pal, start putting in my food, and it's like eggs and toast and milk. Oh my God, my sister-in-law's best friend is breastfeeding. I totally did not send her a baby gift. So jump back on the Googles. It'll just take me a minute. And I type in unique personalized baby gift. Sign from God. Okay. First response, Pottery Barn Kids. I have not repotted the plants on the deck. It got so hot, they're going to die. So I run downstairs and I start bringing in the pots. And I'm like, God, it's so hot out here. Actually, did I book the tickets on Southwest for the conference, coming up for the conference? So get back on my phone, start getting on Southwest. And oh my gosh, the insanity goes on for like another 11 minutes until I finally pull myself out of the crazy. I get my butt back upstairs. I sit down, I start typing, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I need another word for triple. All right. Can anyone relate? Show me a hand, stay engaged here. Show me a thumbs up, a hand in the chat box, or just put your thumbs up on the screen. Let me see you. Can you relate to the insanity, like our minds and the nonstop going back and forth all the time? Yeah. So, it's no surprise, right? It's like all the demands and distractions that are being thrown at us all the time. We are connected to these bad boys like 24/7, and we wake up to them usually blowing up with alerts and dings and rings because they're usually right at our bedside table, which is oh so healthy for us. And then we are like dealing with fire after fire, dealing with all the emotions, trying to get out of the house. Oh my God, the traffic. And then, just dealing with the day, barely getting through it. And then on top of it all, there's the volunteer project, which you sign up for in a minimal commitment, but it never is, right? And then on top of that, because you're so driven and you're so ambitious and you're just such a go-getter, you're on top of that thinking, oh, how can I do this better? How can I be more productive, right? How can I do this faster? Well, let me just throw in a few stats in here for a second to let you know you're not alone and what has happened to us in the last 10 years, actually. So do you know that every 3 minutes, literally every 3 minutes is how much is the on average time that you'll be interrupted by a ring, a ding, a chirp, a beep, a kid, a dog, somebody walking in, your own thoughts, okay? 58 times on average is how many times you're gonna check your email today. This is a pre-COVID stat. I think it's 85, but just saying, it's a lot. 2 hours a day on average is how much time we're wasting and procrastinating. So y'all, I know you're not twiddling your thumbs for 2 hours a day, but there's so much time processing and reprocessing and thinking about what I should be doing and putting our efforts to things that we shouldn't be doing that we end up wasting at least 2 hours a day. And then finally, at least 74 times a day is you're going to check your phone. Okay, this is crazy, but this is where we are. This is reality, and this is, maybe you're nodding your head through all this, or maybe it's surprising you of these numbers, but this is where we are today. And then unfortunately, that adds to a lot of sort of mental and emotional overwhelm. So if you ever feel like at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, I'm feeling burnt out, I'm exhausted, I'm feeling scattered, there's stuff I know I should be doing, but I don't have the brain energy anymore. I sent out the email, but forgot the attachment. I've met that person 10 times, but I can't remember their name. All of this is a result of all the distractions and all the multitasking and all the information overload that is, coming at us all the time. That really leads to our overwhelm and our overloadedness. So good news. Today, I want to share with you 3 simple everyday reasons why we do this, why we disempower ourselves, but more importantly, 3 really simple strategies on how to take control of your day. Because here's the deal. Distractions are thieves. Distractions steal your time. Distractions steal your growth. Distractions steal your sales. Distractions steal your productivity. And that's why focus is the new productivity. The truth is we constantly put our productivity at risk. We sabotage our ability to focus on the things that matter most. And it is so much more in our control than we believe it is. So in fact, did you know it actually takes about 7 minutes to get into the state of flow? So flow is essentially, you've probably heard that word thrown around a lot. Flow is just concentration. So it takes me 7 minutes just to get to the point, if you're working on one task, just to get to start working at your highest ability, right? So how is it possible then we're ever working at our highest performance level if we're interrupted at least once every 3 minutes, we're reacting or responding? So I'm going to take you through, like I mentioned, these 3 strategies, and to make this really easy and to make this really actionable, we are going to use an acronym, and the acronym is ACT, A-C-T. So my goal is for you to walk out of here with these 3 strategies and implementing at least one of them as a new habit and part of your routine when you leave. All right, but word of caution, these are really easy, right? They're totally easy. You have heard some things before, but I guarantee you're not applying them. And so just embrace the thought that I'm not here to waste your time, that, how can I better apply any of these, each one of these, to my business or to my home life, right? Either way. Okay, you ready? Ready to jump in? All right, let's do it. Okay, so who here, just give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat box if you would like to lose a few pounds or get a little bit healthier. Anyone else out there besides me on my Fitness Pal all the time? Yep. Anyone else? Yeah. Okay. Typically it's something we're always kind of striving to do. Okay. So here's what you'd probably do, right? You're I'm going to lose a few pounds. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to start my day. I'm just going to put the chocolate here and the Snickers and the brownies. I'm just going to put it right in front of me. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to look at it all day. And I'm definitely not going to like smell it or touch it. And I'm most certainly not going to pick it up and open it and eat it, right? No, it's never going to happen, at least not for me. If I see it right in front of me, I'm going to eat it. That's why we don't put the stuff right in front of us while we're working, hopefully. So the same way, if you're like, I want to work at my highest potential, I want to make the greatest impact, I want to do my work at the greatest quality, why do we then throw out all these distractions right in front of us and think, I'm not going to look at it. I'm definitely not going to touch it. Oh my God, there's no way I'm going to respond to it. Not going to happen. So the first mistake that we make every day that's really simple is that we rely on willpower. And willpower is not going to work. Willpower is finite. We're using willpower all day for all the things, to not yell at our kids, to do your exercise, all the things. So we don't want to rely on willpower. So the very first strategy in the ACT formula is to avoid distractions. Simple enough. So I'm going to give you 5 really, really, really simple ways to avoid these distractions. I'm going to tell you kind of some research why they're so important and how quickly you can start doing these like this. Okay. Number 1, super simple, is to clear your space, clear your workspace wherever you're working. So right now you might have a home office, a co-working space. Maybe you're in an office, maybe you're in a living room, in your family room, in your kitchen, wherever it is. So clear your space. And here's why this is so important. Okay. So here's what happens. You know how you're doing your work and you're typing an email, let's say, and you're thinking of the next word. You're like, how do I phrase this? I want to phrase it really well. And when you're thinking, as a neurological response, your eyes shift up. So we do this, we're thinking, and that's when it happens, right? You're like, oh, wait, and I should go put this in the laundry, and I should go take this to UPS, and I should go, read this article, and I should do this, and I should do that, right? Your eyes, literally that momentary lapse gets you out of flow, out of your 7 minutes when you're just starting to work at your highest productivity, and you start getting distracted. And here's the deal, y'all. Even if you don't physically touch it, we know it's going on the mental checklist. So that is taking us out, that momentary lapse. And we know that this can often take us back 5 minutes, 10 minutes, hours, because now we're distracted with the other things. So it's so simple. Just get your space clear. We want to start there. That means I'm not talking about organizing right now. I'm not talking about label makers for all you perfectionists. I mean, just pick up the papers and the stickies and the notebooks and the magazines and just put them behind you, out of your peripheral view, so you can stay focused. Okay. Thumbs up. You're like, okay, I got that. Simple, easy, right? Thumbs up on that one. Okay. Got it. Perfect. All right. So let's move on to the second one. Still going to keep it real easy peasy. All right. So who here, probably right at this moment, show me in the chat box, has like 39 tabs open, even though we're supposed to be focusing? Who has like 39 tabs open on their laptops or computers all the time? There's no judgment here. Let me know. Does anybody have stuff open always? All the stuff, right? Yes. Yes. So I see a bunch of me's. So here's the thing. The open tabs are even more distracting than all the stuff on your desk or in front of you. And here's why. An open tab, every open tab is a constant reminder of everything you haven't gotten done, right? It is a weight, always like, here's more for me to do, and I'm always behind. And psychologically, it puts you in a feeling of, I can never catch up. There's always more there. So very simply, this is in our control. One is simply close the tabs except for what you're working on. What that means. So if you're like, okay, I'll forget everything then, there's no way, how will I remember what I have to do? So backtrack to step 1 of clearing your desk. The one caveat there is keep a pad of paper and a pen, write down the things so you don't forget, you have the peace of mind. Use your bookmarks, use other really simple tools, but don't rely on willpower. Because when you're in that momentary thought, your eyes will shift, you'll click on something, you'll check your email, you do the social media, you'll print out that thing, you'll read the analysis, you'll feel overwhelmed, we'll start procrastinating, and it all of it starts snowballing, all that overwhelm again. This is so simple. So if this is like, she's like, you're crazy, I won't be able to do that, there is a really simple plugin. I know this is on Chrome, and it's called One Tab. And you put in One Tab, basically what it does is you take all your open tabs and you just click on it and it goes, and it just like gets them all in one tab. So at least you don't see them. Okay. So try that one. The point is, don't rely on willpower. Willpower is not going to work. All right. So we got our 2 down. They're pretty simple. Yeah. You can do these ones. All right. So who here, tell me in the chat box, could tell me, what is our number one distractor ever? What keeps us the most distracted? Like, what is that thing that always keeps us distracted? What is that device? Anyone, shoot me to put in the chat box. Y'all stay with me. Phone, yes, the phone for sure. Oh, hunger, I love that. This is true. But the phone, right? So the phone is our number one distractor. And if you're, and again, this is a pre-COVID number. I think it's so much higher now. But on average, you're receiving 120 emails a day. Some of you might look at that and scoff and be like, it's at least 200 for me. And for others, maybe this you don't even know, but you're like, yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. That sounds right. So if you still have your notifications coming on your phone, on your phone, on your watch, on your phone, on your laptop, on your iPad, on your desktop for your email notifications, I just want this to let this sink into you for you, that you are allowing 120 distractions at minimum a day that are fully in your control. And I can't tell you how many business owners, adults, people I work with that are still doing this and pretending they don't look at it, they won't react. It's not going to happen because we can't rely on willpower. So if that is not off yet, I'm not suggesting every single alert. Let's start, baby, turn those off. And if it makes you think, well, then how will I ever check my email? I guarantee you will still check your email 62 times a day. We will not stop checking our email because we don't see notifications, but we will be in flow. We will focus better. We will have better quality of work. We will get done sooner, and we will have more energy at the end of the day. Okay, so simple so far, right? Yes, on board? All right, let's do it. So the next one is one that I think we all know of, but are not using quite as frequently or as often and just throughout the day as we should. And this is just our simple buddy and our friend, the do not disturb function. And the do not disturb, if you're not familiar with it, is just on your settings, you go in, you turn it on, and essentially doesn't let any alerts or dings or rings or notifications come into you, but you have full access to all the interwebs and everything on your phone. But here's the one, and this is why I find a lot of people don't use it, because you're worried that somebody has to get in touch with me, my kid's school, my key client, my wife, my colleague, like just somebody important. There is an allow calls from function there. So just put in those people's names that that you need to get, that will help you just have that peace of mind. Use that, and then you have no excuse not to use this simple little tool. All right, real easy again, but do these all are in your control. I cannot express to you how much more focused and less distracted you're going to be, just kind of like snowballing these little tweaks. All right, so last one here. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you to just answer it here. So let's say, like, okay, I'm going to listen to this lady. These are simple enough. Come on, I'm a grown adult. I can do this. I'm going to do these things. And so tomorrow, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in, or Monday, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be like fully focused. I'm going to do everything to like focus on the things that are most important to me. I'm just going to work and stay in focus all morning. So you do all the things, you're clearing the desk, you're turning off notifications, and you're, turning off the tabs. How long do you honestly think that your focus is going to last? Drop it in the chat box. How long do you think that your focus is going to last? By the way, George said he turned off his notifications last week and it was a game changer. Awesome. It is. I think like nobody understands what a game changer it's going to be. Okay. Ooh, we got 2 hours, 1 hour. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. All right. Well, great. Well, I'm thrilled if you could do 2 hours or 1 hour. I would say based on everything that people I work with, based on personal experience, it's typically more like 5 to 15 minutes. There's not a lot of time that we can just totally sit and do our best work without having FOMO, without worrying that like somebody's trying to get in touch with us, or that, the whole world isn't falling apart without us there. So this next one, again, you may have heard of it, but it's like, it's just not applied nearly as enough as it could be. And this one's the Mac Daddy, and this one brings home all the other strategies. And this is simply to use the Pomodoro Technique. Has anyone not heard, or anyone has heard of the Pomodoro Technique? Just put thumbs up in the chat box. The Pomodoro Technique, if you haven't heard of it, or you have heard of it, I don't see any thumbs up, so I'm not sure if anyone's heard of it, but the Pomodoro Technique is a technique and methodology that was based on brain and science research. And what the research shows is that our optimal brain capacity is best leveraged in increments of 25 minutes. In other words, you do your best work for 25 minutes. That's it. So if I told you, listen, You can get out of work earlier. You can put better quality in. You're going to remember people's names better. You're going to have a better, you're going to deliver better quality work, be less scattered. If you could just focus for 25 minutes straight, could you do it? Would you do it? Yes. Yes. I hope you're all shaking your heads. Yes, I would absolutely do it. And so here's the thing. When you use this technique, it's a 25 minutes. And if you're in flow, you keep going. You do another 25 minutes. Don't worry about stopping. But if you're someone that you're like, it's even hard for me to do that 25 minutes, after the 25 minutes, the research shows that you actually get to take a 5-minute break. And the 5 minutes, you do something completely different. So guess what you get to do in your 5 minutes? You get to check your Instagram, you get to check your text, you get to check your phone calls, you get to check everything, right? And then you come back and do another 25 minutes of some kind of focus, uninterrupted, completely deliberate, intentional work. So here's the thing. When you do the Pomodoro there is an app here that I recommend called Focus Keeper, just because it's free. Don't do it right now. It's on your phone. Use that. Don't use a watch. Don't use a clock. Don't use your phone. Don't use that as a timer, because here's what happens psychologically when you're looking at a clock, or your time is going away from you. So it's saying like 9:22, 9:23, 9:24, 9:25, and you literally start feeling anxiety and overwhelm. Okay, because a lot of us think I can do this. I'll just look at my clock and I'll do 25 minutes. It doesn't. It feels like time is escaping and it's adding pressure. If you use a timer, which is like, we use it for kids, and I don't know, adults don't use it as much. We use a timer, time's coming down. So it's 25, 24, 23, 22. Time is coming towards us and you're working towards a signal. So it will, I guarantee, again, I'll tell you all this research, but I guarantee if you just try this, you are far more likely to stay on task, on track, and on focus when you're using a timer that counts down versus using a clock that goes up. So that's why it's really important to actually want to use the app. And when you get on the app, you'll just click on this 25 minutes, you'll just click on it. It's one click, it's done. And then automatically after the 25 minutes, it'll go to the blue screen. It'll be 5 minutes. You get to do whatever you want and you go back to your 25-minute thing. Listen, I got to tell you, whenever I do a kind of a avoidance distraction, any talk, any teaching, this is always the number one strategy that I hear back from, and people say like, I can't believe how much I got done in 25 minutes. I fool myself to think I'm always focused. I'm not. And I'm amazed how much I can get done, because the truth is we don't even know what we're capable of, because it's been so long that we've done 25, 25, 25 like that, just really staying focused on that task. So I worked with a client, Nancy, and she had started her own business, but she was very deliberate in wanting to work 4 days a week, to have Fridays off with her kids. Okay, so 4 days a week, started her business, kind of was going fine the first couple of months. After a couple of months, she's working Friday morning. After a couple of weeks, she's working Friday after, lunchtime. And before you know it, of course, she's working all day Friday, right? It's like work creep, not the creep at work, but the work that creeps into the day when you're not supposed to be. So she calls me, we work together, look under the hood of what's going on. We make some changes for sure, and like systems and other things, but I'm going to tell you the number one change that we made were just these simple tweaks. Literally, it was these, a few other distraction avoidance techniques, but she became a Pomodoro queen, was doing them all day long, whether it meant something personal, something professional. And then next time we spoke, she said, I closed my laptop at 6 o'clock on Thursday and I opened it, Monday morning. So I just want you to just come back to these and say, how can I apply these better? This can have such a massive impact on your life, on your business, on the way you show up. And again, it can be addressed from everything from, doing my invoices or emails at work to I'm cleaning out a drawer or like paying my bills at home. All right. So any burning questions, but I'll also take questions at the end. But if you have anything burning, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, we will move on to strategy number 2. Awesome. Okay. All right. So when I started my business many years ago, about 10 years ago now, I probably like every entrepreneur, I threw myself into everything, right? Threw myself into the marketing and the video blogging and the content creation and the PR and just all the things, right? All the things that we do. We wear every hat, trying to learn everything about every aspect, right? And at that time, my kids were really young. I had 2 young boys. And it became very much part of our lifestyle that mom was working. Like I had to do stuff all the time. So it was pretty normal on a Saturday afternoon when my husband I would see them like going down the driveway. I'd wave goodbye to them. They'd be out to some birthday party or something, but I couldn't go because I was so busy building this business, right? I was so busy doing all the things. Well, one morning on a Sunday morning, my husband comes into my office. Of course, it's Sunday morning and I'm there, and he says the words that never bode well for a great conversation. He's like, we need to talk. And he says the words that kind of throw me into a spiral, into a tizzy. And he says this: so when are you turning this hobby into a business? Oh, no, he didn't. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And before I could start saying, what are you talking about? It was like this overwhelm of just emotions came over me. The waterfalls are coming down and I'm like, can't you see how hard I'm working? I'm trying to learn all the things. I'm doing everything. I'm like immersing myself in this. I'm trying to take care of the kids. And to which he responds, I get that, but honey, what about the sales? To which I respond, something I could only say to you once we've all had wine together, but I will say I didn't take it really well. It was a big baby about it. Kind of didn't talk to him for 2 days until I finally came back and circled back and was like, he's right. He's right. Like, how could I be putting in all this energy? How could I be putting in all this time and not getting the results that I should be, right? With the amount of time and effort that I was putting in. And I find that this happens so much to so many of us, not necessarily the sales, but we're doing all the time. We're doing all the things we think are so important, because the truth is they are all really important, right? But at the end of the day, we're just not focused on the right things. And so everybody here, everybody listening, whether you're live or listening later, each one of you has your own priorities, right? They're completely specific and personalized to you. You have personal priorities, you have professional priorities, and they're different for everybody. So they might be personally, you want to get healthier or, run a marathon or write a book or get another skill or go back to school. And professionally, you may want to reach the sales goals or bust them out of the park or increase your revenue or build your team or introduce new products, right? We all have these goals. But isn't it so true that sometimes we're so busy doing all the things for all the people all the time that the one that we say is the most important for me at that time, it was like, there was no sales, there was no business, how often that can get pushed to the wayside. So maybe you can relate to this. So let's say it's 9 a.m. It's tomorrow, again, Monday morning, and you're like, okay, I listened and I know exactly what my priorities are. I'm in charge. I'm the CEO of my business. I'm the CEO of my home life. I know what they are. So what I'm going to do is first thing Monday morning is I'm just going to totally focus on the stuff I know I should be doing. But I'm just going to check my email for 10 minutes. It's 9 o'clock. You look down, look up, it's noon, right? At noon, you're like, okay, I just opened up this can of worms. I'm like responding to all these things. I know what I should be doing, but let me just wrap this up with a bow. I got to get this off my plate. And then I can be fully focused for the stuff I know I should be doing. Put your head down, put your head up. It's 3 or 4 o'clock. Okay, now you're like, okay, I know what I should be doing. So let me get to that. But here's the deal. I am so out of steam. I'm so tired. My brain, typically the things I know I should be doing, takes some level of just like brain energy or physical energy. And I don't got it because I've been on since 6 a.m. So no big deal. I have so much email I could do. Here's what I'll do. I'll just come back tomorrow. I'll just do it tomorrow. No big deal. Tomorrow comes around. It's 9 a.m. You're like, I'm totally going to focus on the things I know I should be doing, but I'm just going to check my email for 10 minutes. Head goes down, look up, it's noon. And this like vicious cycle goes on and on and on. Am I right? Right. So it continues. And then one of just like 2 very negative outcomes happen. Either now, number one, you're up against a deadline and you're stressed, and that sucks because now you're screwed and it's like everything is bad, right? You're like, I'm going to work really late. I'm going to eat crap. No one in my family can do anything right. I'm not going to sleep well during the night. I'm going to skip my workout in the morning. It's all bad. Or number 2, you never hit your goal? What if your goal doesn't have a deadline? What if your goal is to get exposure to a new client, to develop a new skill, to just like start your business, to change your industry, right? What if it's to lose the weight? What if it's to enhance the relationship and get closer with your spouse or your friends? What if they just doesn't have a deadline? And 1 month goes by, you don't hit your goal. 6 months go by, you don't hit your goal. So often a year goes by and we're not hitting those goals. So what if I say instead, let's find a way that you can hit those goals all the time, that you are constantly moving the needle on the things, the people that you know they matter most to you. And this is the C in the ACT strategy. And this is to commit to your power hour. Your power hour is, I think, the most critical the hour of your life, of your business, of your relationships. Your power hour is typically, ideally, the first hour of your day. It's not always, and that's okay. But let's say if it's first thing in the morning, I personally like to try to do a personal power hour and then a professional power hour. The personal power hour is for me. It's 100% for me that I'm like going to get up early before my kiddos. I'm having my coffee with nobody bothering me. Maybe I'm going for a walk. Maybe I do a little meditation. Maybe I might write something. Maybe I'm planning my day. Maybe I'm thinking about my goals. Like, it's all about me. Okay. This is actually how I wrote my book. For 2 years, I procrastinated it. And that's how I know what I should be doing during this time. For 2 years. This is not my time for email or text. This is the stuff that I never seem to get to. So I finally did 30 minutes a day. Whether it was 5 words or 500 words, it didn't matter. It was 30 minutes a day. And that's how I finally got it done. Okay. The first hour of your workday, maybe for you, it is sales like it was for me, right? Maybe it is relationship building. Maybe it's networking. Maybe it's creating systems. Maybe it's delegating. Maybe it's like strategizing. It's typically that first hour. So I can tell you when I did this, when I finally committed to this after I was stopped being a big baby with my husband, it took me a while. This wasn't something I did overnight, but it was like when I started really immersing myself into this kind of just productivity world. And I did this and I finally committed. So that's 1 hour a day to sales. That's 5 hours a week, 20 hours a month. Can you imagine what my results were? Can you imagine what your results will be if you spend 20 hours intentional, deliberate, focused 100% on any goal in your life? For me, the question about what about the sales just went away, because I had more sales then than I did for the whole previous 3 quarters in that 1 quarter. That's how impactful this can be. So I always say that if you follow this, your power hour, you will earn your salary by noon every day, and you'll never have that nagging feeling on you of what did I do today? Because that's the worst when you're working all day from 9 to 10 or 9 to 5 or whatever it is. And then at the end of the day, you're still like, what did I get done? You'll never feel that way, because if you plow through these in the morning, and if everything else after that is the nonsense, right? It's like the stupid meetings, the dumb emails, all the conflicts, all the crises that are going to happen. It's okay, because every single day you're moving the needle in your business and in your life. Now, if you're thinking, okay, lady, you're crazy. I don't have an hour in my morning. I have to wake up and do the kids, and I have to travel across town, and have you seen the traffic and all the things, all the reasons that we can come up with, which are legitimate, but they're still kind of excuses. So here's the thing. Here's what I'll say to you. If you have these thoughts, your thoughts are leading your beliefs into your actions. So if you believe that I can't make the time for this, you're never going to find the time for it. Or if you believe I'm smart, ambitious, driven, I've gotten this far, I can figure out this problem because I figure out a lot bigger problems, believe me, you will. You will figure out a creative way to either go to bed earlier, get up earlier, pack the lunches at night, do things online, tell your clients or colleagues, or whoever, I start my meetings at 10 a.m., work with your teams. There are so many ways to creatively make this happen when you're committed to working on your goals and progressing your goals every single day. Okay, so any burning questions? Otherwise, we'll take them at the end. Okay, yes, I'm going to take one right here from Rosemary. Is it better to wait till 3 p.m. to deal with the 300 emails and miss a few? hot items that would have been better addressed at 11 a.m. asking for a friend. So here's the thing. I would say, as long as if you're doing, let's say you're doing some of that focus work early, right? 9 to 11, that's great. And then check your emails at 11 for emergencies, right? You don't have to sit there for another 2 hours. Maybe you're like, and I make a 30-minute block there. That's to get to those urgent ones. So it's more structured versus like typically what we're doing is checking our phone every 4 seconds. We're just really, we're anxious. We have the anxiety. So I think there's a middle ground. What I would hate for you to walk away with this thinking, well, I'm someone who checks all the time. And now she's saying 3 o'clock and now I'm not going to do anything because that's just too big of a leap. So don't take such a big leap, but start smaller. But if you have more questions on that, let's circle back and let me know. Okay, so real quick, just want to see we're all paying attention here. In the chat box, please let me know. Let's review this real quickly. The A in ACT is, let's just type it in. What is the A? Avoid distractions. Awesome. And the C in the ACT formula is commit to your power hour, commit to your priorities, however you want to say it, but it's to commit, right? Commit to your power hour. Awesome. All right, great. Well, let's move on to the third strategy in ACT. Okay. Who here, just show me the chat box, has this event on their calendar? Pretty much everybody, right? Yeah, it's all there. It's always there. So that's what's typically on our calendar. We always have like our events. We have the doctor's appointments. We have the hair appointments. We have the client calls. We have the Zooms. We have all that. That's always there. Sometimes the vacations. But how often do we have the time to really sit down and say, I'm just focused on my email. I'm just focused on this problem. I'm just focused on this one task of this one project, and that's it. Right? We often don't have that. How often is it? Here's the annoying bill that I've had to deal with for 5 weeks. I've been putting off on the calendar, and not just simply a kind of a task from like our Google task. We've thrown it on somewhere, but really deliberately thinking about it. If you find yourself as someone who is, I'm always scattered. I hear this all the time. I have ADD. I feel like I have ADD. I'm so scattered. I'm in constant reactivity mode. The day flies by. It's 3 o'clock. I feel like I got nothing done. I can pretty much guarantee, I can usually look at your calendar and say, you know what? If your priorities are not on your calendar, it's all on your calendar, which means you are giving permission for everybody's demands and requests and emails and texts and phone calls and walking in and disturbances to all take over your calendar. And this is why the T, and again, I think you've heard of this, but we're going to get a little bit deeper into this. The T in the ACT framework is to time block. Okay. And let's talk about time blocking, because I feel like we tried this a million times. It doesn't work. Does anyone feel like that? Do you feel like I do that? I've heard this, I've done it, but it doesn't work for me. I overestimate, I underestimate it. I never stick to it. I glance over everything. Anyone do that? Okay. Yes. I'm seeing a few me's. So for sure. Okay. So let's talk about how some of the pitfalls and what this, and by the way, if in case you're not familiar with it, time blocking is literally how it sounds. It's blocking time on your calendar for the things that are outside of the meetings and the appointments and the Zoom calls and the stuff that's already on there. It's everything outside of that. So to actually get the work done, to actually make the time and the deliberateness to get your personal priorities that you know what they are, to actually get them done. So this would be like your power hour, actually getting it on there and knowing what you're working on every day. But here's the thing. So typically, when I'm working with clients they're like, I have 800 things on my to-do list, right? We're running businesses, we're running families, we're just doing all the things. And how do I don't even know. And I'm basically just like running the fire hose. And I'm just trying to like put out fires all day long. So I can't put things on there, and I'm just throwing on some deadline things. And anyway, so it always feels like I can get more done. And then I get frustrated because I don't, right? So here's my question for you. So let's say you have 20 things on your to-do list for the day, because most of us working on some type of list. You have 20 things, or let me make it smaller. Let's say you have 10. You have 10 things on your to-do list, and you get through 7 of them that day. And that's pretty good. That's a really high percentage. 7 things you get done out of the 10. What do you focus on at the end of the day when you're looking at your list? The 3 you didn't get done, right? It's right. It's always the thing you didn't get done. And so what does this do? Now this puts you in a belief and a mindset that I never finish what I say I'm going to do. I'm not good at getting through my to-do list. I can't manage my time well. It puts you in a belief system. It's self-deprecating, and it's not building your confidence in any way. In fact, it's over time, especially just bringing your self-esteem down. And this is why I hear people say, I can't ever get through it. I can't manage my time. So the number one thing I'd say is that we need to get that giant to-do list and then keep a much smaller daily to-do list that is more achievable, not only so that you set your expectations right, so that you're building your self-esteem and your confidence and your belief every day on the type of human that you are. Like, it is actually affecting your identity, because when you complete what you set out to do, you feel confident, you feel inspired, right? You feel like, I'm getting to that true best self of mine. So when you're picking, so I suggest you pick 5. You only pick 5 at a time, and then everything after that is gravy. So you pick 5 for the day. And I'm going to really walk you through this. So the question might be, okay, then what are my top 5? Because I have so many things I have to do. And I could walk you through like the matrix of the urgent and not urgent and important and not important. But honestly, no one's going to do that. That's just too complicated. So I would leave you with this one question. If you answer this one question honestly and deliberately every day, you will have the guidance and the roadmap of exactly where to put your time and energy as you're time blocking. And this is it. What are the top 5 things I will accomplish today to make me feel successful? Feel successful. Okay. So for example, I know for me, at the end of the day, if I actually work out for 20 minutes, not 3 hours, if I just go take a walk, if I go do some yoga or something, I'm going to feel really good and rewarded about my day at the end of the day. If I finally work on the dang system that I've been putting off for 3 months, it's like holding back my entire team. Or if I finally just like get in there and troubleshoot this thing that everybody is like, I'm the cog in the wheel right now. If I deal with that, I know I'm going to feel really successful at the end of the day, right? Far more than the emails or other things that I know they're important. So here's the thing, it's all important, but tap into what's going to make you feel best. So I suggest you do 3 professional and 2 personal. Okay. Because we're looking at our life holistically. We want to be energized and think about it all holistically, right? It's life, not just business, not just home. So if you can tap into 5 things a day that make you feel really successful, you're just going to see immediately like the change in your spirit and energy every day. And literally over time, the change in your identity. So I'm going to give you an example, because you'll have different thoughts. Some of you think that's nothing. I get 1,000 things done in a day. And some of you are like, okay, well, what do I do with this? So let me show you why 5 can fill up your entire day and how much more rewarding that feels. And also how much less often you're going to end up thinking, I never get everything done, right? We're going to have a much higher success rate when you stick with 5. So here's an example of like maybe my calendar today. And I have 4 coaching calls today. And I could say that I sometimes feel like the white space is dangerous. And understand when I say that, what I mean is I love white space. I want to have buffer time. I need time for myself, but I just mean sort of like that white space there when you're looking at your calendar, like, okay, I have these 4 meetings. And then you're thinking about all the things you have to get done. You're like, oh, I have plenty of time. I mean, I have so much time during the day there, right? Look at all that white space. I'm totally going to knock this out. Let me get my 20 things done off my to-do list. So now on the next slide, I'm going to add in 3 professional things that are going to make me feel really great. Okay. So they're in the blue. There's 3 of them. I need to write my podcast. I got to get it out, and I got to get my invoices out because this is finance related. So I got my 3 in there. They're short, but they're meaningful and they're result oriented for me. Now I'm just going to add in a couple times here. I got to have my lunch and check my email, and I'll probably do it more often than that, but I got to go in there. And then the green, I'm just going to add 2 personal items. I'm going to exercise in the morning, and I'm going to call about that damn insurance claim that I've been putting off forever. And it just eats away at me every single day. And then do you see how full like that is with simply 5 items, something personal, something professional, with 3 and 2 on top of everything I already have going on. And if I get even, I can guarantee if I get even 4 of those done, or 3 of them, I'm going to feel a lot fantastic compared to when I would have a list of 20 and I would just get through the same 4, but feel terrible. It also allows you, so there is a major gap between what we believe we can get done and what we can actually get done. I've been teaching this for years and years and years and years. And still till this day, until I can see it visually, I can't marry the gap. Okay, there is something in our brains that will not bring that gap together. So we've got to see it visually, and then you'll be able to see, like, that's a joke. There's no way I can actually get those 5 done with all the stuff I have going on. I either need to amend them and just say, I'm going to do 3 today, or make them much smaller, right? So this starts helping you to like plan and get better results. Because here's the thing, here's what I believe every successful or every entrepreneur and just every person, like professional, feels that the more that they do, the more successful they'll be, right? Especially in times of overwhelm, and especially in times of chaos. You're like, if I just put my head down, I do, I'm going to be more successful, right? I'm going to get more done. This is such a lie. I can tell you that the most successful entrepreneurs, the most successful professionals are the ones that do less doing and more planning. So if you spend this time, if you spend this energy, a little bit more energy than you're spending now, or maybe you're not spending any energy on it, and really block these and plan the time, that's where your success comes in. That's where the ahas happen. That's where, like, I can delegate this, and I can brainstorm this, and I can simplify that, and I can get this off my plate. And maybe I just built this up in my head. This really isn't even important. But because we're in doing mode, because you're in reactivity mode, because you're in kind of just that scatteredness mode, you can't see that. So if I had to leave you with anything today, I'd say focus on less doing and instead focus on more planning. Okay, because again, when you have this looks like your day, it just doesn't seem like that much. All right, I want to tell you one last story about a client that I work with. Jamie, he was taking over a family-run business. He had about 50 people in the business. He was super excited to do it because he had tons of ideas and strategies, and he wanted to like shake up things in the company. He'd been around for a long time. And he contacted me about 6 months after being there. And he is like, I don't know what's happening, but I feel like I can get nothing done. Like, I have all these ideas and people are constantly walking in and out. And but that's just like how this family feel is. And I can't disrupt this culture, but I just can't keep my brain straight, and everything's all over the place and all this stuff. And so, we worked together, looked under the hood of his business, but primarily we made changes for sure. But I'm going to say for him, primarily the main thing that we did was really start intentionally, deliberately blocking his time and thinking through it strategically, whether it was batching or like theming days, whatever it is. But like, we were really thinking very strategically about it. And so, in the mornings, he had his power hour for certain things every day. And then let's say Mondays from 11 to 12, he had finance, and, 1 to 2, he might be doing strategy. And so we really worked this out. But what was important to him, again, he kept saying, but I can't just like bring this into the culture. People are so used to coming in and out all the time. So what we did was on Fridays, we blocked his day from, I think it was 11 to 5, was just an open door policy. So everybody could just walk in and out. And then it was the whole team knew, the whole organization knew that. And so he was really able to still capture this culture while maintaining some great structure and like sort of using that time, the sort of unstructured time, in a very structured way. And I want to bring this to your attention because I feel like, when you see that calendar before, I don't want you to think she's saying, oh my God, you have to have every single moment of your day planned out. That's really not it. It's even your unstructured time, when there's some deliberateness or intention about it, it can work and pay you forward and work for you so dramatically, and just give you incredible results. So Jamie did this for 6 weeks. Okay, so for 6 months. Oh, and by the way, he said, I'm not getting any results, and he started questioning if he was cut out for the job, which was terrible, right? Affecting his self-esteem, feeling like I'm not adding the value or contributing in the way that I think I thought I could, but I don't think I can. So we start doing this process for 6 weeks, and he says, I have better results, not just like financially, but in terms of culture and team spirit and camaraderie, and just like the amount of work and the value I'm contributing in 6 weeks than I did in 6 months. So I tell you this because this is so powerful to really be planning and start thinking this through. So even on your weekends, when it's an unstructured day, you don't need to fill it up 9 to 5, but maybe you're like, on a Saturday, every Saturday, we're going to do a family activity together. Or maybe every Saturday I do one organizing project at home. Or maybe every Saturday, I do one, one brainstorming session, whatever it might be. But even that unstructured time can be structured. Okay, so I think I'm just about time. Any questions so far? I know I've laid a lot out here right now. Okay, so here's almost where I want to leave you on. I'm going to leave a few minutes for questions. I hope you are feeling really inspired. I hope you're feeling really motivated right now. And I literally know who's in this room. Like, you're super over ambitious, really highly driven people. So maybe you're thinking, I want to do all the things right now. I'm going to avoid all these distractions, and I'm going to do this. And I have a power hour, and I'm going to time block all this stuff, right? Because that's what we do. But I can tell you, as a time management coach, as a success coach, the way that we can set ourselves up for failure is to try to do 100 things at one time, or even 4 or 5 things at one time. So instead, I want you to just think right now in your brain, what is the one strategy that I went through today that really hit home for you that you're going to try? So I'm going to give you a takeaway here, because I want to make this time super valuable and in good investment of your time, and like something very practical for you. So here are the 3. I'm going to ask you to commit right here, right now. Either avoid distractions, commit to your power hour, or time block your day. Okay, so if you're not sure, you're like, just ask yourself, like, which one of those like really hit home for me when she was talking? It's like, okay, that one is so me, I've got to do that, and put a stake in the ground. And what I'll ask you to do is 2 things. So as for success, typically we need 2 things that will really help us be successful. Number 1 is we need some type of accountability. And then number 2, we need a time frame. So what I'm going to ask you to, and it's really 3, I do 1 thing at a time, but accountability and time frame. So what I'm going to ask you to do is try the one that you pick for 3 days, just 3 days. Okay. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, let's just say we start there. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so full days, or you can even start today and say Friday. There goes my clock to say it's my time's up. Or even Friday, Monday, Tuesday, but basically try it for 3 days. And here's the thing, you're going to fall off. You're not going to do it right. You're going to hit hiccups. You're going to be like, I did it for 5 minutes. I didn't do it again. And you're going to get back on. And that's fine. That's how it is. Right. But I guarantee, like, there's no doubt in my mind at the end of 3 days, you're going to be like, I cannot believe I didn't do this sooner. This was so simple. This was so easy. And I'm going to get such great results from it. So do it for the 3 days and then add on another one. Then be like, okay, I'm kind of got this. Let me move to the next strategy. Do it for a few days and do the next one. And that's how you're going to build that muscle to really get these habits into place. And the second thing is the accountability. So right here, right now, I'm going to go into the chat box. Whoever is on this call, every single one of you got to answer one of them. So if you're going to commit to avoid distractions, throw me a thumbs up or a me or an A or something in the chat box right now. And if you see your friend, because I know you all know each other, hold them accountable to it. So 3 days, which one is it? A, just tell me it's avoid distractions. Just say if that's you. Anyone doing that one? Me. Rosemary says her. Anybody else? Okay. All right. So what about commit to your power hour? Who's going to do that? If you already answered, just answer again so I can see it, please. Okay. Lots of power hours. I love it. I love it. Awesome. And then who is going to commit to, if you haven't said something yet, this is going to be it. Who's going to do time blocking? Fantastic. Awesome. Great. Well, good. I see a lot of Robert, Melissa, Stacy. Fantastic. Okay. So looks like commit to your priorities and time blocking. Often I do a poll, but I actually wanted you all to see who's doing what. So again, if you know someone here, hold each other accountable. Okay. So we're at the very end here and I want to take some questions. I also want to let you know that again, I hope you're really motivated and inspired, but I also think we know, like, sometimes we leave these things and we're excited and then like a reality hits and it's a day later and you're stuck in the overwhelm again. So if you want to just pick up this conversation, I have so much, so can talk about this forever, but if you want to just talk about it, if you want to pick up the conversation, take a snap of this and contact me. And then we'll just jump into questions right now. And let me know, it's in the chat box. And I need about 30 seconds at the end to wrap up. So, and I will let you out. I'll try to end this in 3 minutes. You have a minute or two to get to your next meeting. So any questions, just let me know in the chat box, anything at all.
It looks like there are a few. Do you want me to read them out to you? Is that easier?
Sure.
Perfect. Okay. Any strategies for teens on their phones?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, I mean, some of them that we talked about are the same, like the do not disturb, the Pomodoro. I actually taught this at my son's high school, and I can't tell you how many high school kids or how many boys. There's all boys school said, I tried that thing. It was really good. So just doing that, and then there's also, it depends on how old they are. There are like different apps you can use that can only let them use certain apps for, like on my son's, we have a social media. He can only use whatever. I think it's like YouTube is like 15 minutes a day. So I do that. We have restrictions on what they can use. So that also kind of depends on their age. Yeah, the brain is definitely not developed yet to control themselves. Adults cannot control themselves. Definitely kids can't. So it's going to be probably some parental guidance in terms of like putting those restrictions on there. At one point when my son was doing college applications, we like made him take off Instagram just for like, you got to get through these 3 months and then you can put it back on. Like we just, it was, or Snapchat, whatever it was, something. Yeah.
Right.
Are there other questions?
I know y'all have questions. There we go. Any strategy or follow-up? What if we are great at getting things done, but weak at follow-up?
We could follow. Do you mean like following up?
Following through.
Oh,
right?
following through. Okay. Great at getting things done, but we could following through, like finishing it up, wrapping it up. Okay. So again, I'm going to go back to these strategies. These are the basics. These are the foundations. Schedule that time to wrap it up. So here's one thing I think that goes really awry, I'd say, on when you're picking those priorities. We tend to overestimate. We tend to be like, I'm going to work on this whole project in this 1 hour. When really it's like, actually, all I'm going to do is create the outline. And then another day I'm going to actually start writing it. And then another day I'm going to do a rough draft. And another day I'm going to, create the final draft. And so I mean, when you're thinking through those times, you have to really think through step by step, and you're scheduling step by step on the calendar. And that's where like a lot of the failure, I guess, that happens is we're just thinking it's like, oh, I can just do this in an hour or two. And it's like, no, it's like a 4 or 5 hour project. So I hope that helps. I'm going to stay on and answer questions. I just want to wrap up for those of you who have to leave, and then I'm happy to stay here if anybody wants to stick on. But what I just wanted to say thank you. I hope that you got a lot of value out of this. Listen, I've given you lots of data. I've given you lots of research. I've given you lots of tools. But now it's really up to you to put this into action, right? I honestly believe when you get control of your time, when you actually start being the driver's seat of your day, you can reach any goal you want in any area that you want. You can lose the weight, you can write the book, you can beat the sales, you can meet the guy, you can do anything you want when you take control of this. So you have all the information. And so what I'm just going to ask is that, how are you going to act? Thank you very, very much for inviting me today. I hope you found this valuable. Stay in touch if you want. And I hope I get to meet you all in person one day. But thank you. And and then Marla, or whoever, if you want to, I'm happy to stay on for a couple more questions.
Sure. Samira had a question about